Listen to this. Listen to this. Donald Trump, the lover of humanity, the savior, better than Jesus, as we all like to say. There's been some stories in the news about evangelicals and Christians on the right wing side of that, which is the majority, I think, kind of realizing that Jesus is weak because he's kind of a progressive cuck. That's my words, not theirs. But it doesn't reflect, like the teachings of Jesus aren't really reflective of the way they feel, the way they act. It would be wonderful if our Christians lived according to what their founders, what their prophet indicates, at least as far as I understand it. It'd be better than what we got, I would say. But they instead worship these total goofballs like Donald Trump here. So he married Ivana Trump. They had 3 beautiful babies. Eric Jr., Don Jr., and Ivanka Jr. Okay? The kind of children you would slaughter an entire village for. The most perfect people to exist. 2 of them went to the Wharton School of Business too, by the way. Did you know that? No? Tell your next date. Tell your date. You'll get laid. So here is our old pal Kenny Klippenstein, Twitter star, just an absolute god, typed out LMAO and linked to these photos here. We're going to a bunch of stuff here. We're actually going to fly into the Google Maps a little bit and take a look at some stuff. Exclusive Daily Mail. Ivana Trump's cordoned off grave is barely visible in completely overgrown area of Trump's 506-acre Bedminster, New Jersey golf course. Oh my God. So this is his ex-wife. I found it so weird that she's buried on his property. Like, who was in charge of where she would be buried? Generally, you wouldn't want to put your corpse into your ex-husband. I mean, and these super wealthy freaks like these people all going to have more complicated nuptials, I guess. But how it ended up that Trump had some say in where she was buried is very weird. I mean, I suppose it's plausible. There's a world here. Let's look at the next picture. So there's her grave. Now, I want you to look closely at this. Look at this. There's her marker. This little gray bit. Very thick, very overgrown. But we're going to get back to this here. On this tweet, though, Kenny Clips did a TikTok. Go follow him on TikTok, everybody. Allie Maynard, she's a good tweeter. The very obvious piss burns in the grass is sending me, she writes. So you might not have noticed that. And these are usually roughly 6 feet, 6, 7, 8 feet, right? They dig a hole roughly, generally over 6 feet probably, because it's got to be wider than the box. Oh man, I saw my uncle's grave. I helped carry the casket, and it was such beautiful wood. What a fucking shame. Anyway, there's these brown dead spots, bright, kind of light yellow, brown dead grass. You've all seen dead grass. Go pee on your grass. And these, I mean, it's obviously speculative, but if you were to urinate, I've urinated outside plenty of times, not as many as some, and more than others. This is about what it would get. You get a good, decent first haul that would launch it if you don't move around. So I've got experience with urine. Actually, I went once to see a appearance in Chicago of the Virgin Mary showed up on this like underpass. So it was sort of this salt stain shape. And it really had this kind of parabolic kind of thing, kind of like a ghost shape, sort of, which is exactly the shape you'd get if you peed on a wall. It would splatter and then be like basically that. It just looked like liquid salt somehow had leaked through the concrete, and everybody was standing around praying for it. And I was like, geez, it's fucking just religion stuff. Wow. Back to the story. This looks like someone pissed. If I were betting, you got a nice good long launch. Maybe not everybody can get that first go, especially as you age. And then it would trickle up and sort of build up as the pressure reduces, and you'd end up with lots of dribbles down in this corner. If your feet are like right here, it's a very plausible theory that someone's coming over to this woman's grave and urinating on it. Now, I went to Reddit. I don't have the links, but I did do a little bit of reading. I just searched for like lawn care, lawn maintenance, piss, lawn maintenance, human urine, lawn maintenance. Like, did I kill my grass? I just did like a kind of a different variety of what people might be saying, because people pee in their yards, and there's a mixed results. It turns out you can just over fertilize. Human urine is actually fairly if it's diluted, the chemicals that are in urine are decent fertilizer. There's nitrogen, apparently. I didn't get a ton of like the science explanations, but almost universally, I did see people talking, because some people are like, hey, I'm peeing on my yard, but look how healthy the grass is around us where I'm peeing. It depends on the chemistry of the soil. It depends on your pH shit plays a role in this thing. And so it's not just so obvious that if you pee on your grass, you're definitely going to hurt it. And then people who have dogs out in the yard peeing can often struggle with the urine messing up the thing. And I guess the solution to that is just to water it pretty well, like rinse it up. And in fact, they say like saving your urine and using it in compost piles is actually pretty good for the compost pile. So maybe this was a kindness. Maybe someone thought that they were just helping the grass grow by coming over to the ex-wife's grave and urinating on it. That's possible. It's very possible. It's also possible that the world's worst person has like evidence of other crimes hidden in the grave, along with his ex-wife's corpse, the mother of 3 of his children. That's also plausible. Melania has a son. He said that. He said Melania has a son. Fucking monster. So yeah, actually, so urine is actually something that can be healthy for your grass, but you have to dilute it, I guess. I mean, that was the common kind of like takeaway lesson I took from my little Reddit journey, is that if you do want to use it, there's actually some decent stuff in there, but in high concentrations, you can kill your grass. And that's also just not true of urine. That's true of all fertilizer. If you over fertilizer, you shock it, you burn it, whatever the hell, it ends up killing it. And it looks like this, like light brown, whitish brown kind of dead grass. So as you remember, though, what the hell's going on here at this Bedminster? Here's a guy on NBC New York, one of my favorite TV channels, talking about a year ago when Ivana was first laid to rest for eternity near the tee off, near the first tee of Donald Trump's New Jersey fuckface golf course.
Pictures of a burial plot at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster is raising questions about the Trump organization's taxes. According to the New York Post, the burial plot is Ivana Trump's final resting place. And as News 4's Chris Glorioso reports,
sorry, I gotta back up. Look how they're carrying this thing. That is a much better way to carry a casket. The casket I had for my uncle, it was pecan. It was gorgeous. God, it was such beautiful wood. I was so annoyed. This looks like a fairly generic looking casket though, doesn't it? They got 5 dudes. Although, yeah, this guy in the back is, yeah. So there's 5 on the left side. There's probably 5 on the right. 5 dudes up on their shoulder. That's not that bad. I think we had 3 on each side. And they asked us to wear these white cotton gloves, which human skin can be slippery, but human skin's decent at grip. I mean, and like fucking cotton gloves. As soon as I had no idea how heavy it would be. My uncle wasn't like a huge guy, under 200 or something. And then he's in this giant heavy box, and I could tell this thing would. I wouldn't do it now with my wrist right now. I mean, I could. I'm not bending, but I still wouldn't put the strain on my wrists because it would be horrible to drop it, man. White gloves. At least give me some gloves with those little sticky bits on it. That would help. I was floored on these like polished handles that were on the side of it, and then they put the thing in a sarcophagus. There's like a concrete box in there that they seal up. My uncle's just sitting out there somewhere. That poor guy. I miss him. He was a good dude. It sucks. I was just horrified at how gorgeous the wood was, that we were just gonna keep a corpse in it and let it sit there. It was terrible, and I was just so worried I'd drop it. I mean, and we got it done. Me and my brothers are, we're all over. We're big. We're not small boys. We were fine. I don't remember if there were 3 or 4 on each side, but 5, 10 men with it up on the shoulder. That's a much more stable go. Okay. Just keep that in mind for when we're boxing our friends up into, IKEA coffee tables, fake cardboard. We're not going to have any access to new materials eventually when the warlordism kicks in after all the countries dissolve into balkanized, regional fiefdoms built around where the last remaining bits of fresh water are and arable land might be. So don't worry, that stuff's going to kick off while we're old, because it's going to start getting. We still have some more decades of this, silly ass, stupid, destructive, suicidal society that we live in. But eventually, it's all going to fall apart, and water will be king. There'll be a lot of violence, and it'll be very terrible. But Don't worry. The good news is that the billionaires added $852 billion to their fucking piles of coconuts during half a year. Like COVID, they all made like trillions. It's just like, what the fuck? Anyway, let's keep going with the story. This is important.
And as News 4's Chris Glorioso reports that could have tax benefits for the former president.
There she is, by the way.
For the
That's
former
Ivana
president.
on the
Could
right.
have reports that.
What is she holding? Look at this. Look at this guy. This guy. Look at this fool.
Could have tax benefits for the former president.
It is unquestionably a golf course, but is it now a cemetery, too?
Hard to argue.
The New York Post now reports Ivana Trump's gravesite is a stone's throw away from the first tee box at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. If this is the final resting place for the ex-president's ex-wife, that could convey tax benefits in the state.
Sorry. I do these kinds. This is like a, if anybody wants to hire me to work on your stupid videos, this kind of animation with sound effects is exactly what I'm very good at. But that's why I jumped out. Listen to the audio, the whip sound.
Wife, that could convey tax benefits in the state of New Jersey.
I think what really grabs people about this story is that it involves the two perennials, death and taxes.
Dartmouth sociologist Dr.
Well said.
Brooke Harrington studies how wealthy people shield their money from taxes. She saw reports of Ivana Trump's golf course burial and looked up New Jersey's cemetery regulations. It turns out designating your property as a cemetery could provide exemptions for property taxes, income taxes, sales tax, and the collection of judgments.
This is a perfectly legal maneuver. I can't say if former President Trump will avail himself of it. If someone wanted to do this, designate part of the property they own as a cemetery corporation, in principle, you could do it and it wouldn't break any laws.
Does that work for cats? No, I'm making it. That's a joke. I love this cat. We cuddled this morning. All right.
It's not clear if the Ivana Trump burial plot represents an effort to turn part of the Trump golf course into a cemetery. By our deadline, the Trump course didn't respond to our inquiry, and neither did the New Jersey Cemetery Board. Likewise, elected leaders in the town of Bedminster didn't get back to us in time. But the Trump family has taken steps to create a cemetery in the past. This 2014 tax filing, first reported by ProPublica, shows an entity called the Trump Family Trust planned to maintain and operate a nonprofit cemetery in Bedminster.
If this is indeed what former President Trump is attempting to do, then he would just be behaving like a perfectly ordinary member of the ultra-rich around the world.
That's a great sentence. That's right. Just an ordinary ultra-rich asshole using government regulations to save themselves some money, which increases the burden on regular people who are producing all their wealth and providing them with the labor force and the consumer force that they need to sustain this fucking grift that is filling up their coffers. The rich get so much freebies. They get so many handouts. The governments to them are these nutrient-rich placenta of wealth and security and comfort. And I don't even call it dignity, but I'm not sure if this is dignity. But one concept that I don't know the right word for it, but the definition or the concept is when is your pain your community's problem? When does your concerns, your worries, your pain, when is your stress an emergency by your community? Because that's what a community should be. Someone's hurt, someone's injured, someone's unwell, someone needs help. That should immediately activate a community response to go make that person better, make that person whole, help that person come back, because that person will then get healthy. And then someday their turn to do that will also they'll be able to afford to contribute to I don't know if that's dignity. You know what I'm saying? Like to the dignified nature, because we just all suffer when we're not offered help, when help doesn't arrive. And you have to go get it. You have to go ask for help. I'm someone who struggles to ask for help. I have a very hard time with it. It's fucked up a lot of things for me. It's a complex thing overall. But the rich, what they've built, because they've written all the rules in every single one of these societies and these governments, is that the government will swoop in with immense response. It'll move mountains. It'll invade countries. It'll upend democratically elected societies to install dictatorships so that the risk of having to get their bananas at a slightly increased cost, because they would have to have paid laborers more money, And so we have the military there that to impose through violence the interests of capitalists throughout the country, because the risk for them is that they would have a slightly reduced rate of extraction instead of actually responding to real emergencies or real help. Because like I was saying, when a Ninja Turtle on a scooter doing a fake pizza delivery runs over your toes, guess what happens in that case? Nobody runs to your defense. You got to go borrow money. You got to go into debt. You got to go give a rich person money. You got to give somebody who doesn't need money more money. And they have all these tricks, all these ways, and they pay people well. There's always a retinue of, suck up accountants and lawyers and et cetera, to make sure all this shit happens. They don't even have to do any of it. We just know that we have to sustain the placenta. So that like second layer, that management class that sort of serves all these wealthy assholes, like, oh, well, we're selling yachts. At least I got rich selling rich people yachts. When I was doing woodworking, the only people that were buying the woodworking products were fucking rich people. When I worked at a shop, that's why I lost my wrists. I didn't get health care. I was making $18.50 an hour, and the shit was expensive as hell. And the only people that could take it, it's not like we were doing work for regular people or poor people. Yeah. So this entire apparatus exists just to pump emergency response and nutrient dense in the form of bureaucracy, in the form of all the ways that the system benefits them, into this placenta that keeps these coddled rich people going. What are they doing with it? They're killing it. They're going to kill everybody, aside from all the racism and sexism and all the ways that they continue to sustain solidarity, disrupting cultural mores. They're also going to fuck up the entire atmosphere so that nobody can live here. Food won't be able to grow. Climate systems are going to get so bad. They're already terrible. People are going to be killed just so that we can keep these coddled scumbags, these low empathy. I don't want to say the word freak. I always call them freaks. It just sounds lazy and kind of inaccurate. It's nuts. And this is just a very small example. Just call it a cemetery. We'll just save a bunch of money on taxes. It's fine. Whatever. Bury that ex-wife of mine in the ground.
Efforts to reach the Trump family trust were not successful. Chris Glorioso, News 4, New York.
What was his name?
Chris Glorioso, News 4.
Chris Glorioso, News 4. That's a good name. So here's some pictures of it. This is from the New York Post. Photo show Ivana Trump's grave at Trump National Golf in Bedminster. So, a woman of a high stature, high standing, married to a billionaire. This is the kind of grave you get when you're married to Donald Trump. February 20th, 1949. Died July 14th on 2022, presumably from Bastille Day celebrations that went awry. Some flowers. I mean, this is like, that could be a placeholder. Maybe they're working on the giant tomb marker, but this is where they buried her a year ago. Let's see. I think nope, not in this one. Yeah. Okay. So here's some photos of the area. Yeah. Look at that. Look, there's the lovely spot that he put the mother of 3 of his kids. He said he plans to build a 10-plot graveyard. I think there was some indication he said he wants to be buried there, as if this, like, because Trump is like he's one of those psychos. He's one of those like build me a pyramid guys. There's no way he probably can't conceptualize his death. It's probably something that he is incapable of handling, at least not in a healthy or ordinary sort of way, as is true for every single thing about him. I mean, he must have some concept that he could die. Gotta imagine that. But he's he would want to be have his body displayed on Mount Rushmore on top on a giant corn dog stick covered in corn juice. His company wrote, Mr. Trump specifically chose this property for his final resting place, as it is his favorite property. Well, isn't that sweet? Isn't that nice? His company wrote in a 2014 state filing. I'm sure that's true. Here is so we were going to fly around on it a little bit, but just so I just want you to see the comparison. Before we get to that, let's go to, besides the theory that it's some sort of tax scheme to declare it a cemetery, and then he gets a bunch of discount taxes from the local community. Here are the theories that were written in the, in New York Magazine, The Intelligencer, Why Ivana Trump Was Buried at Bedminster Golf Course. 3 theories by Margaret Hartman, who's a senior editor. Just a dismal grave. Well, first one is, she says Trump really loves northern New Jersey. I mean, we've all seen Sopranos. There's a woods there. Who knew? Who knew there's woods there? If Trump National Golf Bedminster held a special place, okay, blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. I don't need to read this shit. Fuck this stuff. But theory 2, Trump is running an elaborate tax scheme. We've already heard a little bit about this. There's probably other ways. It might not just be as a cemetery thing. Is a person with an alleged passion for tax avoidance. That's for sure. They love all the benefits of society, but none of the part where you have to actually pay for it. You can get other people to do that or just live diminished lives. It's a great system. So this is that lady that picked up on the fact that it might be the tax scheme. Very good. And then he's just keeping it weird is theory number 3. It's always been my suspicion that this is quoting land use board member Nick Strakov. It's always been my suspicion that there's something we don't know. Fair. I've always suspected we know everything. Anybody agree with this or not? I'm not sure. He told okay. That's the land use board member. It does seem we're missing a key piece of the boneyard puzzle. But there is one thing we know about Trump now that it wasn't quite as apparent back then. He is a super weird guy. He has managed to be weird with various kinds of paper, toilet bowls, aircraft carriers, and dangerous fruit, to name just a few of his proclivities. The thought of our inevitable demise brings out strange feelings and behavior in most people. True. Some of the rich plan to freeze themselves or shoot their remains into space. That's great. Thanks, rich people. Thank you. Is it any surprise that Trump has some grandiose idea about how he and his family should be laid to rest? We'll just finish this up here. It's never something you'd like to think about, but it makes sense. Trump told the New York Post during his first attempt to make Bedminster a cemetery in 2007. This is such beautiful land, and Bedminster is one of the richest places in the country. What? Trump commentary on the wealth of northern New Jersey aside, that sounds astonishingly well adjusted. Okay. Got him. You got him. There's also a lot of speculation. I thought I had the article, but maybe. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Hang in there. No, I don't. I thought I had the article where just talking about speculating that he might have buried evidence in the grave with his ex-wife. That's incredibly plausible. That's also the kind of accusation that would make you seem like you're being unfair about a person's character if you didn't know anything about that person. But if you know Trump, it fits. It's dumb. It's on the nose. It's probably not dumb too at the same time in the sense that it's protected. One way to really make it can you imagine the stories if somehow they had to exhume her body, this grave, because they were like credible suspicions that there might be evidence buried under there. I mean, this was last summer when she was buried after he was president, which means he would have been under somewhat less scrutiny and he wouldn't have done the work. There's no way his stupid ass is out there. This moron. Look at this guy. No way he's grabbing a shovel and doing anything. This guy hasn't touched a tool. The only tool he's touched is him. No, let's see about it. There's no fucking way it would have been him. So there must be people that would know, and maybe because it would be crazy to go do it without any credible evidence besides the fact that it seems completely like something he would do. You just can't do that. It's a very smart place to hide evidence, to bury stuff, and that's exactly what people do. These rich weirdos, I think our relationship with death and mortality is completely deranged. I think there was probably very healthy ways of community approaches and cultural, traditions that formed out of those things over time. It doesn't have to be grief and death and loss, and the fact that we are all going to die should not necessarily be a source of such pain and a source of such fear as it is. But it is because we're alienated, we're atomized, we're individuated, we're kind of left to our own devices on that. We have each of our family probably has their own sort of, mini cultures that relate to the way we deal with this stuff. Some healthier than others for sure. We also have to work all the time, so we're not given time to grieve or time to actually process these things. Both my parents are still alive. I am dreading their deaths for various reasons. They're my parents. It sucks. I mean, they're both in their mid-70s. They're starting to get up to the finish line anyway. But it's going to be really rough. It's going to be emotionally incredibly hard. I've already gone through one with my mother where she, basically was dead. And the doctor, we were going to pull she was in a coma and we had, So we were preparing to like start to make funeral arrangements is where we were at when it turned around. She managed to pull through somehow. It was kind of a miraculous, and she wasn't brain dead. We expected her to be brain damaged if she came out of it. Big turnaround there. But so I've kind of experienced a family, one of my parents' death already. So I get to have 3, I guess. That was a difficult time in my life. That whole event. Maybe I'll write about it eventually in something. But we are completely deranged with our approach to death, especially the way we treat elderly people. Once you are no longer able of producing capital, or if you haven't saved up enough money so that you can continue to pump your retirement savings into someone's coffers, you're useless, and we don't give a shit. You're just as much as your only use is if you can be used as a Medicaid scam in terms of, are you going to have access to like a safe and healthy final years? Some people get lucky. They find situations or there's enough support. I mean, it's not like it's exactly the same outcome for everybody, but our relationship with death is totally deranged. It's another, I think, relates to kind of a lot of what I was talking about last week, which is like just the whole relationship we have to violence and the relationship we have to the cultural conditioning around pain and like the commonly like broadly defined pain, stress, other people dying is, not that you can take on the entire depth of the grief of every person's death. It would be impossible. We're exposed to so much death in terms of news and stuff. So there should be, it makes sense that there's some detachment from that, but one of our worst traits, one of the worst conditions of our culture is our ability to dismiss others' pain. We just tell a story. Well, they made bad choices. Well, they did something wrong. Well, it's their fault. Hey, what can I do? And a lot of that comes out of childhood trauma and self-defense or self-protection, protective kinds of responses. The conditioning starts very young. And unfortunately, like the goal of a society should be that everybody dies of old age. That should be it. What are the conditions required so that nobody dies of an accident, nobody dies of violence, nobody dies of untreated health care, which I would actually consider that a form of violence. Is there any more violent person than a fucking healthcare executive? Goes to work and kills people and comes home with a paycheck. It's the most repugnant. I don't know how I would be able to, not that I would do anything physical, but like, how could you live next door to a health insurance executive and not be like, oh yeah, that guy's just like a fucking Nazi, man. That guy just kills people, just gets up and goes to work and murders people through bureaucracy and gets paid for it and gets celebrated if they do a good job. Evil stuff. So, sorry, that's one of my hobby horses. Was that what we would call a hobby horse? I don't know. A pommel horse. That's one of those. That's the same thing, right? Yeah. So that's all fucked up here. All right. So let's just explore this Bedminster place a little bit, though. I don't know. I just figured let's just see. I've never actually seen and looked into what this freak show is like or what it's about. One of the fortresses of wealth and tacky, gross, fake, faux. Not really like Trump is a genuinely a wealthy person, but also a complete phony along the way. So here's a little Time magazine video at the Trump National Golf Club. All right, we're checking it out. That's Florida. Boy, this sound is horrible. I'm turn it way down. He's expected to head to this high-end golf. Okay, sorry. Oh, that's where he prepped for the debates. Look at this editing. Honk, honk, honk. We're going to watch this again. So he's shaking Christie, then he's with Romney, then he's pointing at Betsy DeVos, the education secretary, who is a Christian extremist who wants to get rid of public education. There it comes. I love it. Was that a baritone sax? Something like that. Okay, I'm really bored. Here are some interesting facts. Okay, we got some new facts. Oh, it says favorite new escape. They've got ketchup dispensers in the bathroom. Uh-oh. What? John Delorean, the automaker, or did he automake, or did the workers do the work? I'm sure he had something to do with it, but we always individualize the achievements of these collectives we call corporations. The parasite at the top of the corporation gets all the credit, but it's not actually doing any of the thing. So John Delorean owned it. That's kind of interesting. There's actually a Netflix documentary where he is played by Alec Baldwin, and Alec Baldwin takes it so seriously that I just remember watching it. I could not get over that he was being Alec Baldwin. Look at this. This is, oh, what the fuck? I grabbed the wrong one. Sorry. Look, there's Alec Baldwin as John DeLorean. And I just remember him, the way Alec Baldwin was in the video of it. Let's see if we get a video. Let's see.
Are you surprised that a feature film hasn't been made about your dad and his life?
Yeah. He's got cocaine, hot chicks, sports cars, bombed out buildings.
My 4 favorite things: cocaine, hot chicks, bombed out buildings, and what was the third? The car. Hot car.
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher. That would add that to the list.
FBI agents and hardcore drug dealers.
Allow me to introduce the DeLorean motor car.
Wow. Pretty fun. There he is. That's Alec Baldwin. True story.
A number of people have been wanting to do a movie of my life.
I'm going to try to be
Alec Baldwin.
John DeLorean was the leading man Hollywood producers dream of, and he was real.
That's right.
He was one of the maverick rogues of his day.
What the hell is this?
That's the GTO.
You're out of your damn mind.
He married the
Out of his damn eyebrows.
world's top supermodel.
My dad was at the peak of everything, and then came the car.
This is the DeLorean Motor Company.
It's impossible to start up a car company.
This is real innovation.
And you've got the money for this?
Oh, yeah.
John didn't have the money.
Was that Noah Wiley?
John
Sorry, I'm just obsessed with these actors. Look, it's Noah Wiley from the famous TV show ER.
Oh, yeah.
John didn't have the money.
Who plays his wife? Let's see if we can.
John didn't have the money.
We were
Sorry,
innovation.
And you've
Sorry.
got the money for this?
Oh, yeah.
That's bad.
John didn't have the money.
We were heading for insolvency.
John DeLorean is in jail this morning.
I just found out a few hours ago. I know nothing.
Stability and sanity left the household when he got arrested.
When John puts all the chips on the table and loses, you have to play music while everything collapses around him. It's like da na 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 na.
All right.
You start to
Genius, savior, liar. Okay, that's a fun diversion. So let's see. Let's watch more of this. So these are some more fun facts. He bought it for $35 million in 2002. Opened as Trump National Golf Club. Gross. Golf. 535 acres of land and has 2 18-hole courses. All right, there's like a pool, ugly fountain, some side pool stuff, a bunch of chairs, other amenities, 25-meter heated pool, 2 oversized hot tubs, and poolside dining service. Wow. The waiters come by and they chew it and they spit it in your mouth. They'll even bury the bodies of the children and the hobos that you get to murder on Friday night murder night. It's a Friday night. It's only the summers that they do that. Uh-oh. Jared Kushner. Middle Eastern's favorite. Jared Kushner. $2 billion. They made these two talk about grifting. I don't like the word grifter, but I think that applies. Something like $650 million while they were during the 4 years that they worked at the White House, that they were paid federal employees. So Ivanka and Kushner got married there. With the luxury estates. Okay. Isn't that sweet? Banner. Come on. Banner. Oh, the golf club is slated to host the 2017 U.S. Women's Open in July and the 2022 PGA Championship. Hell yeah. The Saudi Arabia bought the PGA, right? Like they're just totally... That's cool. That's fun. All right, thanks, Fortune. You did it, or whatever. Fortune Radar by Time Magazine. I thought that said the gay. It says the guy behind the DeLorean, but my brain read that as gay. The gay behind the DeLorean. I'm like, well, all right, good for him. So let's just go to a map, though. I have a Google Earth thing, which is like a little gives you access. So we'll take a look at where it is in the United States. So for friends that don't know, this whole cluster shit here is New York. New Jersey is like over here and stuff. This big old island that's really long, that's called Long Island, because we name our amenity. We name our landmasses very creatively here in the United States. You know what we call the mountains to the west? The Rocky Mountains. It's over there by the wet ocean. So this lake here, I don't know what it's called. I could probably turn on names and stuff, but I know that, what's there, a weird star shape? What the fuck is this? Doesn't have the 3D thing on there. That's nuts. What is this place? Wow, New Jersey is truly a land of wonder and mystery. I'm pretty sure it's where the Witcher universe is based. So hang on. I had it. Oh yeah, this is it here. All right, I'll start at the building. Okay, there's the 25-meter heated pool with the 2 oversized hot tubs. This is that statue, right? So this is the angle in the photo that we just saw in the video. If we back it up a little bit. Okay, see that statue? See this structure there? I think that's correct. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Got a couple of tennis courts. 4 tennis courts. Oh my God, that is luxury. Basketball court, bunch of parking spots, some outbuildings. So according to The Guardian, this piece here, I thought there was a photo of the overhead that showed us where. Well, anyway, I remember it since I have a good memory for this stuff. Here is where she's buried. Here's the first tee. Okay, so you come out here. These are like practice greens, I'm going to guess. I used to be a caddy. I caddied for about 3 or 4 years when I was a teen. Best years of my life. No, not really. And so I'm familiar with the kind of rhythms of a golf place. There's usually places near the place to kind of warm up. There's usually some holes. There's often a driving range of some kind, which actually that looks like this is probably the driving range. Yep, I would bet. Yep, it's got all the divots. So these sort of slowly migrate around as they grow the grass back after it gets divoted up. So you could pop a bunch of shots off into there, get your warm up. I don't know how the rest of the entire course is structured here, but I do recall seeing this overhead shot and that the plot where they're buried is right here. Big old flag because, freedom, liberty, home of the involuntarily brave. Love living in a country where bravery is required at all times. Stray bullets can come right through the window at any time. Did a Ninja Turtle run over your toes in a fake scooter delivery? Well, time for some bravery, motherfucker. Go to work. Get enough money so a rich person gets more money, and then maybe we'll help you with your toes, okay, you piece of shit? So anyway, this is the plot. This is where she's buried. I remember seeing a thing. Because this is the first hole, this one here. I'm guessing this is the 18th. Oftentimes the first and the 18th are close to each other, depending, obviously. But usually you end back by where you start. So there must be sort of a clubhouse. This is what I'm guessing is kind of like there's always a locker room. I don't know if they have a female locker room or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did not. Okay, yeah, so you go in there, you have your satanic rituals, you do blood sacrifices with your fellow demons. Everybody's unfortunately gonna not alive in time for immortality to come around, so they all have their grief rituals. These freak fucking rich people all want to live forever because it's unfair. So yeah, there you go. She's buried somewhere right around here. And this is what it looks like now. This is what it started as. Right there. There's the grave. There's the plot. And then, I mean, the marker. And then here it is now. Those have to be piss, man. Or maybe someone was just over fertilizing with like a squirt gun. I'm trying to think of ways it couldn't. What else could it be? I mean, who knows? There's all kinds of reasons why grass might get fucked up, I guess. But yeah, that tracks, especially if you're a big dribbler. Especially if by the end you got just most of it just sort of dropping straight down once you lose the velocity. So crazy stuff. So that's right about where she would have been. Yeah, let's go. Let's see this. So this is the first hole. I don't know. This is either 2 or one of these is 2, because you have different tee boxes for different skill levels. Usually, it's kind of how it works. Yeah. So yeah, lots of places to hide evidence and bury your children in there. This must be like the service, if it's even connected. Sometimes I get lost just looking at Google stuff. These overhead maps. In fact, here is Bedminster Trump. I have the reviews open, but let's see. Close that. No, see, that's not what I wanted. No. Bedminster Trump. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so just to give a sense for, this is not the Google Earth Studio, which is what I was using before. So it's 535 acres. I don't know if there's a way to get a circle or like a border around the property. There probably are maps somewhere on the internet. So let's go to the satellite shot just to reorient yourself. There's the pool. See, this is less, these graphics aren't as good. Basketball court. Thank you very much. Green pin. Okay, so this must be, this is the clubhouse I was speculating about, I'm going to guess. Walk out here, tuck your shirt in, make some racist comment, look around, see there's a black guy, go, oh, well, I wish I was alive before. All these people. Can you imagine being one of these persons that wants to be at Mar-a-Lago or this kind of place? One of these goofballs. Practice putting, I'm guessing. First tee, giant flag, dead wife covered in nuclear codes and stuff. Or whatever, phone records of you talking to people that you sold them to. I don't know. What kind of things could he have hidden there? Whatever it is, it's dumber than we can imagine. We can guarantee that. So right up there by Elizabeth Lane. Trump Trail 2. Curious what this house is. This part of the property? That's interesting. Could be. It's hard to say. There's a few Trump trails. All right. Ooh, Hoopstick Brook. All right. I'm sure she was popular. There's some kind of weird hedge maze. Yeah, I'm going to guess that these are a lot of rich folks' ass houses around here. Look at that thing. Huh? Think of the expensive wine you could be getting drunk on and then passing out in that and abusing some servant that has to come wake you up. Oof. Man, it's good to be. We all just want to be in the 1%, don't we? I just want to be able to afford shoes and like not be terrified that I'm going to die of old people poverty. Just fucking have a nice time and work hard on meaningful efforts. What's going on here? Okay, we got some extra stuff. I don't know if this is part of the property or not. Just some tennis courts. Are these pickleballs? Those are pickleballs, aren't they? Definitely pickleballs. I'm pretty sure those are pickleball courts. Pickle courts. All right. There's the holes. Do they have so the place where I caddied had a little like a concession shop, like a little actually big fat hot dogs. So it was tradition for the golfers to buy the caddy a meal. So you got like the caddy deal, which was like a Coke and like a big hot dog, big fat girthy. And that was one of my favorite parts. I love free food. I love it when I get a free, I turn into such a, I don't know if I'd say glutton, but it's more just like, I can't turn it down. If you walk by me with like a tray of little tiny something that has like crunchy and then maybe a shrimp, I will eat it. And I will be so grateful. And I will probably want to eat more. And I might even want to put one in my pocket. So this is somebody's got their pool right there. Lamington Road over here. Oh, Bedminster Farms. I wonder if this is there's also a bunch of tax breaks for making your property a farm. So you can kind of like just game the entire system. This has got to be just some rich motherfucker's house here, huh? Let's go over to the Google Maps. Sorry, I'm just having fun here. I'm just kind of rolling around. Let's see, that would be I lost track of the orient. Oh yeah, here's the pickles. There's the pickle courts. This also lets you do this. There it is. That's the one we were just looking at. Lovely. Lovely. Great air conditioning. Proof of one's success is gigantic separated houses. The things that they hoard are security and comfort and access to community help, even though they pay for it. But they make it so that you can't form communities on your own because people are too busy working and being scared of each other's skin colors. All right. Yep. Not just a lot of houses, a lot of good, nice old buildings. So you could, I bet is this a horse deal here? I don't know. Look for a horse. Is this good podcasting? This has got to be bad audio. I'm so sorry. I don't even know. Maybe I'll have to skip over this bit. All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's Trump's place. That's how Trump gets there. And these are the woods where, damn it, Christopher. Oh fuck, what's his name? And Christopher and Polly were running around where they had to survive on sauce packets to get through the frigid cold night. Ooh, look at that lovely tree. You know that's got to be a really beautiful little stroll, right? Right up through there, right up into your special garden. This kind of trellis topper there. Think of the parties. This appears to be some sort of mid-construction spot. Man, ain't America grand, huh? Look at that. Look at these. Look at these ones. These are slightly smaller. Poor people. The real estate crisis is absolutely fucking bonkers. And among the reasons it's terrible is that when people can't live near where they work, because all these rich people are completely dependent on other human beings to do the labor that they don't want to do because they have money. They don't have to do it. They can pay others. But people have to travel incredibly long distances to get to and from their jobs. When you live, San Francisco is a good example. Sort of the opposite of what we're seeing, where it's like wealth concentrated in a city as opposed to wealth concentrated in much more spread out kind of areas. But among the reasons the housing crisis is so problematic is that it forces the servants to then have to commute and to give up even more of their life energy to these people because they can't afford to live within an hour or two of where they have to go to work. And then we don't have mass transit systems. And so they're left without an ability to get there other than a car. Since you're required to own a car, you're, subjected to the whims of breakdowns and the costs and the insurance and the risk. It's dangerous to drive. It's one of the more dangerous things we all just kind of take for granted. So yeah, it's a really kind of a messed up way of doing stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, you'd think though that I tweeted this, actually retweeted a Benjamin Dixon. He does a show tweet, but it was like the comment I made was just like how sustaining human habitability of the planet should be the minimum expectation, considering all of the rich, of the super wealthy, of the powerful, of the corporations and their ruling class operators is how I phrased it. It should be a minimum expectation for all the wealth and luxury and power and immortality. We give corporations immortality. And shouldn't we at least expect, okay, you're going to steer culture or delay cultural progress. They're going to do everything you can to keep up the anti-solidarity momentum of capitalism and the kind of dysregulation that comes on personal levels, on broad levels. We're community dysregulated, and we're also individually dysregulated. All of that, all the price that we pay. Some of us lose the ability to use our hands, so that people who already have a lot of money can save a little bit of money. And for all of that, we should at least expect that the planet remains habitable for humans. This should not be a negotiation. In fact, there are ways of ending this, so not that I know exactly, but if it was an island and one person's giant pile of coconuts, and they had a retinue, that's the second time using that word. They had their, the subclass just below where they are also aspiring, but they're wealthy, they're comfortable, and they're the servants of those super wealthy, the, professional managerial class. And then they have their violence agents, their violence officers just below that. But that composes roughly 10% of the population, maybe. It tapers off very fast from the 1%. But if it was an island of 100 people and there was one person with far more coconuts than the bottom 80%, and they're doing all the toil for it, that person doesn't lift a single finger to do anything. But they command the violence officers to defend their giant pile and to enforce the rules on the rest. If there's one person out of 100 people, well, there's a solution. The 85 people at the bottom have to get together one night and solve the problem. And then you have an island with 99 people. There's solutions to this, but we don't have, obviously that's a drastic oversimplification of it, but that's what's happening. It's such madness. It's such fucking madness that this is the way things go. There's a lot of politics around golf courses and stuff, and a lot of city shenanigans and tax stuff. So, do we have anything? Oh, I wanted to read the Trump reviews. I'm just wasting that just because I thought I would. So here's a guy says, this 5 stars. This golf course is one of the most amazing pieces of property in New Jersey, in my opinion. Mr. Trump has gone above and beyond to give an amazing experience when visiting here. The staff is made up of some of the hardest working individuals in their field. The field of keeping grass very short and easy and fun to roll balls around on. Again, we had a wonderful time here, and we cannot wait to be invited back. Thank you to my commander and chief. I think it's called commander-in-chief. I don't think it's commander and. It's commander-in-chief. He's the one commander, the one who is in charge of the other commanders. There's no way Trump could do both of those. An amazing businessman, declaring his property to be a cemetery for saving money. Boy, shouldn't we all be so lucky? And soon to be the 47th president of the best country in the entire world. Ah! America, give me a hug. Yeah, they found 2 bodies tangled up in the razor buoys that we place on our southern river border. Just people, the bravest fucking people on the planet trying to cross a river. The desperation it takes to traverse Mexico to all the risk that goes into trying to get to America, and they're greeted with murderous razor wire. Greatest country in the world. Another guide here, or another review. Beautiful course, amazing staff, professional as can be. They take care of you once you pull up to the gate. The course was in prestige shape, and the food was really amazing. Asterisk. Update: attended the Live tournament. That's the thing that the Saudi Arabia. I think that's the Saudi Arabian government's golf enterprises tournament, and could not have asked for a better venue. The event was well put together. Congratulations, Saudi Arabia, on your achievements here in America. Great facility, attentive staff. There you go. That's actually directly taken from my dating profile. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Here's another one. While we had to change our wedding date several times because of the pandemic, the club was wonderful to work with, especially Amanda. Once we had finalized our date, Amanda, oh my God, I got a book. Amanda was so helpful to ensure our big day went as planned. From the time we arrived on property for bridal party prep and groom's lunch, their customer service was impeccable. Well, that's good. We had our ceremony on property while we were, I like to imagine they were all in the pickle courts. Click, 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 click. That's my impression of pickleball. And while we were hoping to have it outdoors, the staff was so gracious as to be patient to let us make the call on whether to go ahead and have it outdoors. However, the weather did not break, and all vendors and TNGC, that must be Trump National Golf Club staff, quickly transformed the ballroom into a magical ceremony space. Man, sounds nice. Our guests have mentioned repeatedly that the food and drinks were the best they have had in a long time, and we could not be happier with the attention to detail that was taken in the preparation of food, both at the food stations as well as the past hors d'oeuvres during cocktail hour. The reception food was just as delicious, and servers were attentive to each of our guests. Catered food is usually pretty good. Yeah, I'm down. When they say the best day ever, I agree that it was, and so glad we decided to book with the Trump National. Amanda and the rest of the team. Hey, you know what? That's where I'm going to have my wedding, to my coven of 7 super lefty witches who let me stay at home because I'm good at fixing stuff and I'll do my podcast. I'm a great cook. I am good at like planning cooking. I suck at so many other things in life, but if you're like, okay, we're doing fish fry Thursday, leave it to me, man. I'll be thinking about that shit for weeks. I'm not going to let down my wives, right? Maybe one of them's traveling on a business trip. She'll survive the zombie plague when it hits in America while she's in Malaysia doing her shipping business. That's part of the plot of Station 11. Great book. Great food. Okay, one more. Great food and super nice staff really make you feel welcome. We expect a little snobby, but just the opposite. Very unpretentious, genuine people. Response from the owner. Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you taking the time. I'm not going to do it. To review us and recognizing our team. The club is full of friendly people ready to deliver first-class hospitality in a beautiful setting. Hey, this is the free market at work. You know, sounds like their customers who want them are finding them. But okay, a 2-star. All in all, an okay, even good place to golf, but you can't get away from the hype and politics, which is distracting and even a bit tasteless. Some players, not necessarily members, were quite full of themselves. Staff is excellent. Food is not as good as you'd expect, though. That's funny. I just want to find like one more that's not. Okay, here's a 1-star. The food and service were subpar. Decor was kitschy. Nothing special about playing golf there. It's a shame because I was really looking forward to this place. No, that's fair. That's okay. You know, we all get to have our opinion. Don't like it? Move to Canada, fuckface.